Welcome, patrons. There's few things that the major religions of Thedas overlap on, but what is constant among them is the nothing. So let's talk about what isn't, about the abyss and the in-between. Let's talk about the void. The word void gets thrown around all the time, as a curse in dialogue, as a place equivalent to hell in the Chant of Light, and as a place where evil elven gods are trapped. But between all of this, it's never stated what the void is. Is it a place? Is it a state of being? Is it actually nothing, or is it something that destroys everything? What's even harder is that the two main words used to describe this thing, void and abyss, are pretty common words. A lot of proof for the concept could just be unrelated ideas completely. It may even be possible that the void and the abyss are two different things. What is certain is this. Although it may not be a place, it's talked like it is. Bad things are there. People have been to it or where it is located, and it's currently unknown how to get there. So let's start this off by taking a look at the different religions and how they mention the void. The Chant of Light mentions it a few times as a place where the Maker has ignored and a place where unfaithful souls go when they die. In most discussions of the void, two passages of the Chant of Light stand out. Threnodies 12:5. All that the Maker has wrought in his hand, beloved and precious to him, where the Maker has turned his face away, is a void in all things. In the world, in the fade, in the hearts and minds of men. Passing out of the world, in that void shall they wander. O unrepentant, faithless, treacherous, they who are judged and found wanting shall know forever the loss of the Maker's love. Only Our Lady shall weep for them. Andraste 14:11. Here lies the abyss, the well of all souls. From these emerald waters doth life begin anew. Come to me, child, and I shall embrace you. In my arms lies eternity. The latter passage is mentioned in The Calling, when King Merrick and Fiona stumble upon a mysterious lake in the deep roads, which is described as glowing green with strange shapes moving in the depths and whispers not quite heard. Merrick recites this chant, explaining to Fiona that he was taught that the abyss was the place Andraste went to beg the Maker to forgive his children, and it was described as a beautiful place in the deep surrounded by emerald waters. The main quest, Here Lies the Abyss, is also named after this, which if you've played the game, you'll know is the quest where you go into the Fade. Dalish traditions say that the evil Forgotten Ones were from the Void and eventually trapped there by Fen'Harel. Another story mentions that the goddess Andruil went to the Void to hunt the Forgotten Ones. The same story then describes her making weapons and armor from the Void itself, which destroyed her lands and turned her insane until Mythal had to intervene. A story that mentions Abyss is one about Elgar'nan. In it, it's described that Elgar'nan wars with his father, the sun, and eventually buries him in a deep abyss created by the land's sorrow. Not really a main religion, but a short-lived Navarran cult that sprang up sometime around the late Ancient Era, right around after Andraste's death, and called themselves the Empty Ones, believe that the Void is where the Blight began, and that returning to the Void was the only place where one can find peace. Although the Dwarven religion doesn't mention the Void, there is an Anvil of the Void, an object made of lyrium that merges stone and dwarf together to create living golems. So now where is the Void? And this is where lore ends and theories begin. There are suggestions that the Void is both a place in the deep roads and a place in the Fade. Chantry teachings lean more towards a place in the Fade, as they believe it's a place where souls go, and souls enter the Fade right after death. The Here Lies the Abyss quest also seems to suggest that the raw Fade is the Abyss. In the comic Until We Sleep, Magister Aurelian Titus talks to the heroes of the tale, saying they shouldn't have escaped their Fade dreams, they could have lived happily in the void places, gaps between dreams. This suggests that the spaces between the dream realms, like the versions of the Fade we see in DAO, is the Void. Another leaning towards Fade Void is from the cult of the Empty Ones. After the Tevinter Magisters of old breached the Golden City, they came back blighted. If this is where the Blight started, then the Golden City would be the Void, which is in the Fade. On the other hand, Dalish tradition seems to favor the Void being in the deep roads, describing Andruil going into the deep and Elgar'nan throwing the sun in the land's sorrow. And what of the armor and weapons that Andruil made of the Void? Was it armor made of lyrium, or even red lyrium? Either way, it came from the deep roads, and while lyrium is found in the Fade, I doubt she was able to bring physical items from it. But it should be noted that the Void could be located in both. If what Sola said is true, and that the Fade and Thedas were once one and the same, then the Void could have been in both places at once. An actual Void located in the deep roads, and a place in the Fade, where magic that touched that part of the world lingers. If we ever get to visit the Void, we might only get to visit the shattered remains of it. And that, honored patrons, is all that is known of what isn't. Do you still have lingering questions? Proof that I'm wrong? Comments about your own fan theory? Feel free to tweet me at @Gilderthallen on Twitter or send a PM to user Gillanon on Reddit. Darath Shural.